Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We are in our spring session, which I'm calling momentum because I want to build momentum over time to just slowly kind of start somewhere where we're at. It doesn't matter where you're at. Maybe you're already at a super high level of training and fitness, and that's fine. But we are going to just keep progressing and build momentum and new habits, and also build a mantra for this season. So I've gotten some really good responses as far as your mantra and what you're planning on and thinking of for this season. And at least for me personally, having kind of something, either a phrase or a word that really helps me um, stay disciplined and focused and committed to my mantra helps me just get more benefit from everything that I'm doing. So with that, we are going to go ahead and start by getting some threading in the legs. So put your left leg forward, your right leg back, hinge forward, and then back. So don't hold anything too long yet. Just go forward and back. Get your back hip flexor nice and open, and then stretch through that hamstring. We are going to be going legs today. We have 3 different blocks of work, and we'll be on a timer. So there's 3 exercises per block, and we're going to hit the block for 4 rounds. So we'll have 30 seconds of work and 15 seconds of transition. All right, switch to your other side. Right leg is forward, left leg is back. Hinge forward, and then pull back. So with today, nothing focused core as far as like sit-ups or planks or crunches, but everything should be working from a contracted and strong held core. So as you develop your awareness of core muscles, just all of those deep muscles interior underneath the rib cage, through your abdomen, being able to flex and find those and stay strong there without actually holding a plank, without actually doing a crunch, is extremely beneficial to keeping your body safe, your low back healthy, and helping build tone in your core and abdomen. All right, I'm going to have you sit on the ground for me, and we're going to do a Z sit. So you're going to pull your left leg in toward your crotch, and the right leg is out away from you. So I want you to push into the knees and legs and sit up, get opening through those hip flexors, the front of the thighs. Then you're going to sit down, and then you're going to rotate your feet to the other direction. Pull your left leg out, right leg in, and then sit up, push those hips forward. We're just going to go one more each side. Rotate over, push the hips, and then to the left, and push those hips up. Perfect. All right, go ahead and plant onto your hands. We're going to come into a wide forward fold and kind of hinge back and forth. So our first block of work is going to be a squat. A goblet squat is how I'm going to do it. If you prefer a sumo squat, meaning you hold your weight lower, that's totally fine. I'm going to use a 35-pound kettlebell for that for now. And then from your squat, you're going to go into a deadlift. I'm going to use 2 35-pound kettlebells for that one. And then our last exercise for the block is going to be a held mid-range squat. So you'll hold that bell, or dumbbell is of course completely fine. And you'll just come and hold a squat down at the bottom, flexing in, finding that isometric contraction. So isometric contractions are hugging the muscles to the bone, flexing in deep, and creating resistance and force and build of muscle without actually moving the body. So we're going to start, like I said, with our squats. I'm going to go with the goblet squat. Depending on how warmed up you feel free to stay body weight for now, and we'll get going. Here we go. 30 seconds of work, and then we get a little 15-second transition. Ready, set, and go. So with your goblet squat, you'd hold high at the chest. Sit down nice and deep. We're trying to keep the chest nice and tall off your rib cage, and your knees are kind of the target for your elbows. Think about your first part of your squat is pushing your butt back. Pushing it back so that you can dig through the heels to use the glutes to get back up. Okay, so there's our first. Next, we're going to go into deadlifts. So if a deadlift bothers your low back at all, try holding a wider stance. Traditionally, you have your feet right underneath your hips, toes straight ahead. Your butt goes back and your back stays super flat. You're really just leaning forward, but you have to think a lot about it. You're picking up dead weight, and we want to get a little hinge through those hips, and you do that by softening the knees, sticking your butt out, and flexing in through those shoulder blades. 3 seconds, and time. All right, then we're going to go to that held mid-range squat. Feeling good? Already building the heat. So your bell's going to be between, I'm going to go a little bit wider with my feet, and the toes are going to be slightly pointed out. You just sit low, still pushing your butt back. Open the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then find flexion through the inner thighs, your glutes, your hamstrings. Halfway there, core nice and strong. You got it, you got it. Build heat and burn through those legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, back to the beginning. We're going to go back to our goblet squat. So we have 3 rounds to go. Get your bell set, your stance, hold your core, and go. Here we go. Depending on your weight will be the pace that you're able to go. So if you're holding heavier weight, you may be squatting and rising a little slower. If you're going body weight or lightweight, you may be going a little faster. So you find that pace works for you. That's kind of nice when we're on a timer. And time. All right, we're going to set up for those deadlifts. Super important, that first lift, hold the shoulder blades back. That's called a closed chain, keeping the back flat so you're not rounding. I really like to take my brain to what I want to be using the most. So this is a glute and hamstring exercise. Of course, you need to keep that core solid, really protect the low back, but you're using hamstrings to lift that heavy weight. Time. All right, then we're going to have our held squat. A little bit wider. Sit nice and deep. Ready, set, and hold. Right here. Sit it back and down. An isometric flexion is almost like a tug of war, right? So flexing, pulling, pushing your knees in and out, pushing and pulling up and down, driving the butt back, grabbing that core. So these different counter flexions that build the heat. Time. Whew. All right, 2 sets down, 2 to go, starting with our goblet squat. All right, grab your bell, hold it high on that chest, and go. Back and down. Make sure your knees are lining up with toes. When you hold your weight up high like this, you will feel a little bit more in your upper back. And that's okay. As long as it's not in your low back, we're good. You're good. Push the knees out as you drive to the top. There's our time. We'll have deadlifts. Butt back, back flat, super strong core. Go. I like to inhale down, exhale up, contract through those glutes. So make sure you're getting your hips pushed forward at the top without overarching your low back. When I'm not holding weights, I'll show you what not to do. Time. So if you come up and you're getting this hinge forward so your shoulders are back, you're putting lots of pressure on that low back, and that is what we do not want. All right, sit deep and hold. Find that hold. See if you can get your thighs as close to parallel to the ground as possible. Knees out with toes. Check in with it. Open the chest. Halfway. Woo. Grab that core. Sit it deep. 3, 2, and 1. Oh my goodness. Whew. That's a tough one for me. Okay, last round. We have our goblet squats. Chest tall, core strong. Get those feet set. Here we go. Make it your best set yet. Try for some really good range. As long as you can keep your hips driving back and you feel the work coming from your hamstrings and glutes. So the tendency is to get into your quads, which is the top of the thighs. We want to dig from the bottom, underneath. To do that, you have to sit back. Whew. Okay, deadlifts. Here we go. Think of your hips locking into place. Think of your chest leading the way. Time. All right. Last one for the set. Our hold. Ready, set, and go. Same thing here. Try to find those hamstrings and glutes. Remember, take your brain to where you really want to be feeling the move or the hold here for us. For me, my butt, my inner thighs, and my core. Woo! Shaking. 3, 2, 1. Nice job. All right. We're going to take a quick little mobility set. So take your right knee down on the ground and your left leg forward. We're going to do that same little threading that we did from the beginning. A little slide. So we'll go through each side. Slide forward, hinge back, forward, hinge back. After our third one, which is this one, come back to just your regular supported lunge and twist. 3, twisting over the left leg, your top leg, making sure that low back is still happy and healthy. All right, hinge forward and back. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Bring the leg back, twist over the front leg. Last one. Okay, our next round, I'm going to be using 15-pound dumbbells, and we're going to do an alternating backward stepping lunge, an alternating lateral lunge, and then a wall sit. So our wall sit's going to be our hold. Okay, so if your back stepping lunge, feet are hip width squared off, you'll step right and left. And then your lateral shift, take a wide base of support, super wide. You're going to shift over and down, come up, over and down, come up. All right, here we go, starting with our alternating lunge. Go. So with your lunge, Once you get those hips squared off, let your upper back stay flat, and then hinge and lean over the front leg, right? So if you can get a little lean, still getting lots of hip hinge, then you're going to put more weight on that front pushing leg, and that's where we want it. Trying not to be quad forward here, but getting into those glutes. So there's our time. Whew. Take your wide base, toes are straight ahead, still that strong core. When you hinge over, make sure that your straight leg stays straight all the way down, all the way up. I'm going to target the floor with my weights, but if you want, you can just sit low, holding them up high. Still here, pushing that butt back and down. Knee lines with the toe. Drive through that side. All right. Now we're on our wall sit. Hopefully you have a wall. If not, just sit and hold a chair like in yoga. All right. Here we go. We're on. Make sure your knees right on top of the heels. Try to get those thighs parallel to the ground. I think 30 seconds should be fairly doable here. Push your low back toward the wall. Think about contracting those thigh muscles into the bone. Wrap and grab tightly. Remember that isometric contraction. That's our last set here. That's what we're going for, the last exercise of your block. All right, back to those alternating lunges. 3, 2, and go. Keep your hips level and square. So sometimes we get some rotation in the pelvis, and we want to keep it neutral and fixed using the core so that our low back stays happy. Thinking about driving through that front leg. So try to think of the back leg, there's time, as being like a kickstand. Not doing that much with it. All right, our lateral lunge shifts. Ready, set, and go. Drive over, nice and deep. That straight leg stays super straight. Otherwise, we compensate by bending the other knee, and we miss that work that we're getting through the different muscles around the thigh on that pushing leg. 3 seconds. Time. All right, back to our wall sit, or you can hold your chair, wherever you can get some thigh burn. And 3, 2, go. Again, that tug of war. You're trying to push your knees together at the same time. You're trying to pull them apart. Think about trying to push the wall over, right? So we're not using the wall to support ourselves. We're actually using the wall to push our body into. That's how I used to rearrange my room when I was younger. Time. I'd sit myself against a wall in the bed and push. That's what we're going for. All right, back stepping lunge. Ready, set, and go. Check in with your front foot for me. So I've noticed recently some of my clients have a little bit of an internal rotation on their toe in the front. So that foot needs to be straight ahead, and the knee needs to be pulling toward the pinky toe side of that foot. Squeeze between your shoulder blades, grab with your core, and time. All right, we're going to hit up those shifts. Get nice and wide. Ready, set, hold that core, go. You can work your pace, but see what you've got. Get some work done. You take it where you have it. Remember, we're just trying to progress a little every day. Sometimes progressions are not linear either. So maybe you have a solid 3 days, 3 weeks, and then you have a couple days time or weeks that you have to back off a little. Slow down, recover, refresh, and that's fine. Because we're building habit for time, right? And go. So we're getting away from the concept of, a fixed time frame of health and wellness. Small choices, positive choices, changing old habits that don't help us get where we want to go. As we slowly change those up, we're going to be feeling the results and feeling the changes. Whew, all right, last set. You're doing this in real time with me. It's been a year since we were all sent home and locked down. All right, hit your back lunge to flatten that curve from the COVID-19 spreading. So I don't know about you, but in hindsight, the year flew. There are definitely the days where it felt like it was still in place, but that year went by fast. And you can recognize how much you can make those little small changes every day. A year goes by quickly, and then you have something to show for it. All right, wide shifts. That wide stance, toes straight ahead, sink it over and down, drive through that heel on that bent leg. Hello, can you go? Check in though, see that the shoulders are still staying above your hips. So we're not doing a hinge forward, but a drop down. 3 seconds. Time. All right, last wall sit, and then we have our last round of work. This mat might get in the way. Here we go, we're on. Practice mentally connecting with different muscle groups. Where you want to contract deeper, where you want to feel more hold, more flexion, more heat. Broaden through that chest, pull those shoulder blades back. Hold the core. Time. All right. Our last block of work, third block, we are going to be using our band, a mini band. If you don't have a mini band, it's not a problem. Pretend that you have one. There's a lot of work that can be done in just envisioning and self-flexing. And if you need one, reach out to me. I'll help you know where to get it. I have a brand spanking new one today. It's going to be crazy. Okay, so we're going to put our band above our kneecaps. Flatten it out. All right, we're just going to be doing a lateral squat walk. So I'm just going to go back and forth the width of my mat. So you're going to hinge back and down, finding a squat, and you're going to walk laterally side to side, okay? Then we're going to sit and do awkward abductors here. And then our hold is a glute bridge, all right? Good finisher. Ready, set, and go. Line those knees and toes, butt back and down, and really be mindful. So check in with your legs, your knees, and your feet. Feet need to be going straight ahead. Don't bring your feet all the way together because then you lose that tension of the band. Grab the abdomen. If your low back's talking to you, you need to contract your core more and maybe stand up a little higher. All right, shift out through those hips. Take that little stretch. Get your toes pretty wide, straight ahead, but you've got to get your knees out with the toes. Okay, drop in and abduct those knees. So a couple people I've seen recently, they get their toes really wide, but then their knees are inside their feet. You've got to keep that line up of knees and toes, and your knees are then coming wider than the toes in your pulse. Hold on to it, belly strong. Remember, we want that butt to sit back, sit on your heels in time. Okay, roll down for your glute bridge. Should feel nice. Set your feet so that they're hip width. And when you push up into your glute bridge, your heels are underneath your knees. Flex deep through those glutes. Widen through the knees. Still keeping the knees in line with toes though. This is another good opportunity, this isometric hold. Take your brain to the muscles that you really want to feel activating. If you're not sure, we're going for the glutes. Grab into those booty muscles. Keep driving the hips. All right, drop your hips however you want to come up. And we're going to go back into our little squat walk, the lateral walk. Core strong, hinge those hips back and walk. Check in with your upper body. See how still you can keep it, right? So you can kind of check in if you look straight ahead and the horizon isn't moving and shifting. Knees line with toes, toes straight ahead, belly strong. Check in with that foot that's moving in. Make sure it's not dragging, right? So don't have it slide. I want to pick it up. Time. Take a little stretch. All right, we're going to sit it down and have those little awkward abductors. I always feel a little awkward, but they burn nice. Knees a little wide. Sit back and down. See if I can see. Hello. Hello, can you go? Dig into those heels. Hold the core firm, right? So even though we want to push those hips back, make sure you're not losing your low back and letting your pelvis tip forward too far. 3, 2, 1. All right. Lower down. Hold that glute bridge. If you don't need your 15-second hold or break, don't feel like you need to take it. Put the heels right underneath your knees. Dig into the heels and then pull them back towards your shoulders. You'll feel the tops of the legs kind of pull forward. The hips lift even more and the butt take over. Hamstrings here as well. Still keep that core flexed and strong. Feels good. You get those hip flexors open. Breathe into it. Stay in it. Time. All right, coming up. 2 sets left. Toes straight ahead. Belly nice and strong. Sit back and down. And then start your walk. So we want to get into those abductors here with our awkward abductors and these lateral sets. You put that band on, kind of the upper outer glute. 10 seconds to go. Check in with those knees, check in with the toes, core. Make sure you're not rushing it here, right? So if you're shuffling, it's actually easier. Sitting into that heat, flexing in and holding it is what we want. All right, we're going to hit that awkward abductor. 3, 2, and go. You can make small adjustments to get the work where you want it. In fact, do make small adjustments. If you're feeling your low back, adjust into that core. Sit back on your heels a little more. Lift the chest. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Just becomes a matter of how much pain you can keep pushing through. All right. Drop it down. Hit your glutes. Push hips up. Find that positioning. Check in again with that pelvis here. So make sure that you're not overarching the low back. I actually have the tendency to do that. I start focusing on just how high I can get my hips, and then I lose my core, and then my back starts to grab. So you got to kind of find that sweet spot. Little tuck of the tailbone, pointing to the backside of the knees. I don't know about you guys, but my booty is shaking. All right, last set. Last set's always the best set. Set it in. Hold nothing back. 3, 2, and go. How much width can you get without losing form? Check in with your neck. Relax. Push the chest forward. Slide the shoulders down. Make sure your knees are lining with toes. Toes are straight ahead. Time. Whew. That little hinge, side to side. Maybe take a little round here. All right. Squat it in as wide as you can get it, keeping the band tight, but the knees out with toes. So you may need to narrow your feet a little. Dig into the heels. Breathe deep, you've got it. Settle a crazy mind. Time. Okay. Drop onto the ground. Line those knees and toes. Belly firm, tuck into those glutes. Up and hold. Dig into those heels. Heels pull back toward the shoulders. Keep it all strong. Don't back off. Can you flex your glutes any more? Right? So the goal is not just popping the hips up. It's building that heat and burn time and build in those glutes. All right, hug your knees into the chest, nice and tight. See if you can get your knees close to one another. Hug them in. Let's get rid of our band. Then grab a little stretch. So cross your right ankle over the left knee. Put both arms out in a T and then let your feet drop to the left. When your legs drop to the left, your right foot, the bottom of your foot should be on the ground, and you want to let your right knee kind of open away from you. Come back into center. We'll go to the other side. It's going to be kind of a quick stretch. I would highly recommend and suggest and ask you to do more later. Same thing on the other side. It's actually fantastic to grab little stretches throughout the day. So if you have a little sequence that takes 3 to 5 minutes, it'd be awesome. All right, keep that left leg crossed over. Interlace your hands behind your right thigh. Pull the legs deep into the chest. Flex both feet and see if you can dig your left elbow into the left knee. Now, depending on your flexibility, you may be way out here. That's fine. Wherever you can get that stretch, flex both feet. Press your shoulders into the ground and your low back into the ground. All right, switch to the other side. Right ankle crosses over the left knee. Interlace your hands behind that left thigh. Flex both feet. Dig your right elbow into the right knee. Draw deep into the chest. All right, and then these 60 days of workouts, I promised that we'd always finish with our low squat. So we're going to see how good we can get at that. So just start high, wide base of support, slowly lower down, get those knees out with toes. Maybe you're higher for now, that's okay. You can kind of shift side to side. I did not used to be able to do this. It was super tight, and I have really enjoyed. I've actually helped a kind of chronic hip pain that I had since I was 19, since getting down low like this, knees open wide. So my goal is to try to keep getting my knees and feet closer and closer and closer together. So I'm going to have to work on loosening my ankles and my calves. Take one more deep breath. Thank you all so much for joining me. Remember to think about what you want to build, the momentum that you want to find for this spring session. Hinge up over those legs. Nice work.